was either yesterday or the day before. I think, I don't know who, it was Big Sarge that actually posted up the dude at the table saying, like, you can't keep your shoulder in your CQB, or keep your rifle in your shoulder when you're doing CQB suck, or something like that, right? So I just made a joke comment about it. I think Lucas had posted it, and I commented. I think I either commented on his or I shared it to my story, basically saying the flashy moving the buttstock all over the place out here that's what gets dudes hard, but chicks like it when you can connect and stay that way. Just fun, making jokes. But I got a message, or like somebody else shared that or copied a post and tagged Lucas and I in it. He makes the suppressor covers. I already forgot his name. I apologize. Mark, we had talked, and I contact because it says dudes who don't know anything, basically. So I DM'd him, and I'm like, I don't quite know how to take that. Are you saying I don't know anything? Or are you saying you agree with me? Or what is it? He's like, well, Lucas, da-da-da. I'm like, I'm not Lucas. Like, I'm saying you put my name on the same thing. Why is that way? And it was just, no, you got to understand, in CQB, you don't want your muzzle to come through first. It gives your position away. I'm like, no, I have a pretty good understanding of it. You got to get in there and see it and identify it before you can shoot it. And by that time, you're already standing in the room. And if he's shooting the first thing that comes through the room, you're being shot. So I guess just return fire and carry on, but you still got to hit what you're aiming at, right? Or what you intend to hit. He says, well, some of the trailers, though, like when you own a trailer, the doors are small. I said, I haven't had the same issues. And he said, well, you might have different trailers than we do. And I said, no, I'm pretty sure trailer's a trailer. And I said, when places get really compact and confined, I just go to a handgun. Well, that makes sense. But yeah, that was the interaction. It was just like, what? I wasn't mad at the guy or anything. And we actually met at TTPOA. And that's why I said, what's your background? And he said he's with a team in Florida. I said, and then he asked what was my background. And I was like, well, this is where I work. This is what I've done in my life, just where I work. And he's like, oh, well, you should probably find out first before you say someone doesn't know anything.
Yeah, and I think it's, so referencing kind of, so this is Brent.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm almost home. I'll quit driving and quit being that guy in about 2 minutes.
All right.
Down good, so leave it. Don't worry about that.
So the thing with like the buttstocks in the shoulder, like that becomes more of an emotional topic than I think it really needs to be.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I think that a lot of that stuff, I wouldn't consider, breaking the rifle down is kind of confined space maneuvering with the rifle. That's how I was always taught. I would not say going through the threshold of a doorway is confined space maneuvering. That requires that. And then for some of the TTPs, that guys, the amount of things that they want to do while they're in the doorway, like hanging out there, whether it's, some bastardized version of combat clearance, step center, limb pen, doesn't matter. To me, you're sort of connected to the rifle, when you're doing that threshold assessment, but then going into the room when I would perceive, hey, the fight is going to be faster. It's going to be more dynamic. And I see it as like, it's not necessary to break that rifle down. And I've heard a litany of excuses. Hey, well, you don't want to give away, you don't want to introduce the rifle before you're into the room. But also, I think if you're gaining anything, whatever your perceived level of gain is for doing that, you're definitely not ready to shoot in times when you need to shoot.
Yeah, and this is, sorry, Matt, I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
No, and what I see now, I just saw, a bunch of clips from training OTOA was doing, where now you've got guys standing in the doorway that have no intention of connecting to the fucking rifle. And it's like this shitstorm of a rock rolling down a hill, and now it's going so fast. It's like, I think the principles that you're violating in terms of what a CQB gunfight's going to look like, you're just not ready to deal with it. And regardless of the explanation, I don't see it as a valuable technique.
Yeah, so Matt was in a CQB class for 2 days, and I got to go and just stand in the shoot house and kind of watch the guys go through. And I think you remember mentioning, I said, not a one of these dudes is ready to shoot anything. What I think it is when you get this movement technique is where everybody ends up in the house. This thing starts riding on their shoulder, and it never goes back into the pocket. Like when it comes out, it should be like, fuck, I have to take it out to do whatever it is I'm doing. And I want to get back in there and feel that pressure in my shoulder again so that when I need to shoot, I can. But it seems like it's just a really long flashlight that dudes hold up here in front of them. And they enter the room with the gun sideways, riding on the shoulder. They hit the big rooms, and they're moving down the actual hallway with the gun compressed, almost as if they want to be able to get closer to the door. Does that make sense? And we had mentioned it in there. I'm like, put the thing in your shoulder and just don't get closer to the door if you have to stop. I don't see the sense in breaking the thing that's going to work for you. And then we were talking about like some of the distances. I think it's another misconception dudes look at when they're entering rooms. They always say, well, in a room, you know, if that guy's, because it's always the boogeyman in the deep corner, and that's all they know from training. When you enter that room, you got to be able to shoot fast when you're being shot. I'm like, no, you have to be fucking correct, dude. We're the police. You got to be correct. You don't have to shoot fast. You have to be correct. And then when you enter a room, just assuming it's going to be 5 yards deep is absolutely asinine. I sent you that photo of my kitchen, the carry. When you leave my kitchen, looking down the hallway, it's 16 yards to my bedroom door, where if I'm standing there shooting at you, I don't know many people who can shoot the rifle and hit me effectively when there's just a small portion while I'm perfectly stable up and shooting you from over their shoulder. You know what I mean? So the same excuse goes to room. You cannot shoot as effectively as you are able to. Even if you're not that great of a shooter, you can't shoot as effectively as you're able to if you're just doing this point shoot stuff. And yeah, like a full-size man standing in the corner with nothing between him and you, like a dresser, and he's crouched down behind the dresser, and now all you've got is this nugget and a freaking little Jennings sticking out at you. Like the ability to actually engage those targets effectively, you just rob yourself of it.
Well, you're not seeing that in a lot of these videos. It's either dry runs or guys not showing hits on paper after they shoot. You know, one of the things that I love about having guys run a GoPro, they lie about the GoPro run. You know, you're actually seeing the hits, whether that's flat range, whatever it is. A lot of the, you know, highlight reels, even if it's on steel, I mean, steel will lie to you versus an A zone of a target, right? And so when you're these demos, but the reality is most people aren't even at, like, let's say you're at a level where you're in a team, you're doing CQB regularly, and whatever, if it's trailers, VBSS, you've got small spaces. I pulled a pistol out a lot for small spaces by just, you know, throwing, like if I knew it was really small and I was going to be in there and it was really tight, I went to my pistol, and then I would run around with my pistol probably more than I should just because I was comfortable with it. But again, it doesn't look cool on a highlight reel for social media, which is why you see a lot of this. I mean, that's the reality.
It's like a damn infection, though. Like that group that was going through with Matt, I'm watching them, and I love watching dudes train that. But I'm like, not a damn one of you's ready to shoot. I mean, the eyeballs are down, and it's like a lot of very flashy snap and like, you know, like digging the corner really hard with the gun. But I don't see anyone, excuse me, guys, I don't see anyone do that on the range. I don't see anyone demonstrate that capability on the range, but it's Dancy in the house.
Guys that you've seen do it a lot, it's almost like they're just walking through the house, and it's very fluid, and it almost looks effortless because when you've done it that many times, it should look effortless. But again, it looks pretty boring on social media. Whereas the reality is if you've done it 1,000 times, all this snappy, very fidgety stuff doesn't translate in real life.